All right, ladies and gentlemen, this time we'll call the meeting to order. Mayor Eccles is a little delayed and will be joining us as soon as he can. This will be his third function in the last hour or so, but he promises to be here. So, but he asked me to get started here with the meeting this evening, recognizing we're a little bit later than what we usually are. At this time, I would ask you to rise, please, and partake with a moment of reflection at your discretion.
Thank you, John, and I apologize for my slight tardiness, but it never rains, but it pours some days. All right, we should be down to declaration of pecuniary interest. I just stepped in when you were taking a moment of reflection. So is there any declaration of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof from anybody on the agenda this evening? Seeing none. Of course, if it does arise throughout the meeting, it can be declared at any time. Yeah. You'll notice that we do have a closed session, but that will be held at the conclusion of the meeting in a moment of everybody's time, dealing with a labor matter. So we'll deal with that at the end of the meeting. Public meetings, we have none, Mark, this evening. And the consent agenda. Down to that, I have a motion moved by Rob Thompson, seconded by Doug Hutchison. Be it resolved that items A1 to C2 inclusive contained in Part 1 consent agenda be adopted, and further that authorization be given for the actions to be taken as may be necessary to give effect to the recommendations contained therein. Any questions on this motion, Mark?
Yes, I would ask Council to pull the March 10th, 2015 West Grey Health and Safety Committee minutes. Those minutes have to be amended and they'll come back at the next available meeting, if that's okay.
Okay. So you're going to ask that those be pulled, Mark, or do you want to
have the motion?
Okay. Yep. Any other comments on the consent? Move this one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Seeing no other questions, all those in favor of the motion on the floor? Any opposed? That's carried. All right, Mark, you can hand out those motions to take effect. Thank you. That should move us down to communications from Mayor and Council. Is there any communications that any of the council members wish to give us? Mr. Thompson.
Thank you. The Durham Junior Dodgers and the Durham Minor Ball are hosting a softball day in Durham this Saturday, June 20th. There's 11 games and barbecue, raffles, and they're looking for just the general public support in this event. They want to bring, they're growing larger and larger in minor ball again in Durham, so they're hosting an event that hopefully attracts a lot of the residents of West Grey and bring them out that day. So hopefully the weather holds for them. Doesn't sound promising.
That's a long ways away. There's very great that there's 11 minor ball teams and they're all going to play that day starting at 10 o'clock, correct? Yep. Barbecue and a social gardens, I believe they have down there. Is that what it would be called?
I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be a
Very good. Anything else? Councillor Hutchison. Doug?
Along with that, the Grey Bruce Health Unit has this weekend as their longest day of play, which is on Father's Day, the Sunday, but we're also supporting a number of other activities going on. We have a number of prizes that we give out to supporting the kids more or less to get them out and get them playing, and so we're getting involved in the ball tournament. There's an under-8 soccer tournament going on at the soccer field. On Friday, there's a play day at the school, so supporting that. So just getting out and recognizing the kids playing and being active. And on Sunday, we have a a run taking place from the fitness center at 10 o'clock in the morning. Anyone's welcome to join in, just a fun run, 5K. And in the afternoon, the wading pool is kicking off their season, so we're supporting that too. So it's just sort of a little promotion for the longest day of play, or basically keeping the children playing. So, thank you.
Thanks, Doug. Carol, Councillor Lawrence?
Thank you. This Saturday, there's a fundraising barbecue for the Ellenwood Community Centre. It's going to be held at Grant's Independent in Hanover from 11 to 3. Good food, good time, so I hope everybody can come out.
Okay, any other councillors? I do have a couple here. A couple have been hit on. But one, we have a young student in West Grey, Paul Grine, that won an award in his science fair project, history project that was at Grey Roots. He was selected, him and another young gentleman, for their project for parliamentarian. They're making a video, going to be judged at the national championships, and part of the judging part is a public vote for Paul. So I have the website is canadianhistory.ca, Kids, Young Citizens Profiles 2015. Paul invites everybody to vote for him. You'll remember Paul was the junior ambassador at the Durham Fall Fair last year? Yes, last year for this won that award last fall. So quite a dynamic little individual, and he's looking for everybody's vote out there to be the parliamentarian. His project was on John Diefenbaker and how it affected in Newstead, and that for anybody that doesn't know out there, John Diefenbaker was born right here in Grey County in Newstead, Ontario, and at 2 years of age, he decided to go and expand himself. The family moved to Saskatchewan, but we do have his birthplace here, so good for Paul. I'd like to also thank and congratulate the West Grey firemen. Just got a letter in from muscular dystrophy, and the West Grey firemen, the Durham detachment has made another donation, the association, to muscular dystrophy. So they were congratulate the gentlemen and ladies down at the fire hall in Durham for their work and donation to muscular dystrophy. The Durham Lions are having a dinner and Durham Loves Canada Day fireworks and event on June 27th. They're a chicken dinner, so if anybody wants tickets, I believe I've got them here somewhere amongst this paperwork. They're $20 for the chicken dinner from 5 till 7, and then the music and everything down below the hill on the ball diamonds, and the fireworks at dusk on the 27th. And then speaking of that, Doug, I thought you might have said Priceville.
I was coming to that.
Oh, you had the mic, and you give it up. Go ahead.
On July 1st, Priceville's having their annual fireworks Canada Day celebration, so people are invited out to that, and I was supposed to especially invite the council, being that I'm on that board, and they put on a good show out there too. So we have two fireworks coming up to celebrate Canada Day.
Yep. And just this week, I received a couple of letters in from MPPs, ministers that we had met with at acknowledging the meeting at Roma Good Roads, and they're anxiously waiting and hoping to work with us to resolve municipal issues. So surprising that was the end of February, and we finally got a response back acknowledging that we were there. I don't know whether anybody saw, but on the media today, it was announced yesterday, and certainly on the media, the Chesley RCU got extended funding for 6 months to continue on, the Ministry of Health. So congratulations to our sitting MPP for Bruce Gray on sound, and Huron Bruce, who did a lot of work in keeping that very valuable project and program alive up in the Chesley. There's certainly been a number of West Grey residents use that. And on Sunday, just yesterday, I had the opportunity to meet with a group from Brampton that were here in our community. I don't know whether, how many people got a knock on their door, but they were door knocking here in Durham. I also know that they were in a couple of other municipalities in the Grey Bruce area. The Manatee Muslim Community Group were here just doing some door-to-door knocking, giving out information on the Islamic faith and information on that as well too. So it was interesting to meet with them. There was about 50 here in Durham, and between the raindrops, they had a picnic up in the Conservation Park and knocked on doors. So that was who was in the community. And the other thing gives me great pleasure, and I was hoping that our CAO would step forward. I got a letter from CAMA, Canadian Association of Municipal Administrators, to Mayor Eccles' long-serving recognition awards program recognizes and celebrates the dedication to public service, the municipal management of our members with a significant priority for our association. These awards are based on the number of years of full-time paid employment in the municipal government in a management capacity as Chief Administrative Officer or reporting directly to a Chief Administrating Officer. They're granted at 10 years and given in 5-year increments. So this gentleman obviously will have, this will be his 4th one. This year, in your municipality, we acknowledge the commitment of your Chief Administrative Officer, Mr. Larry Adams, for his 25 years of municipal service in the management capacity. And his recognition pin is enclosed. So, Mr. Adams, if you would, indulge me. Surprisingly, we had this come in 2 weeks ago. But we got here at noon, and we were so effective and efficient and had the council meeting over, and after lunch, this arrived. So I've been holding on to it very carefully for you for the last 2 weeks. So thank you, sir. Your 25-year pin. Congratulations.
I should just say it's an honor working with such a dedicated group of individuals and such an outstanding staff on behalf here in Westbury. Thank you for the privilege.
Okay, again, congratulations, Larry. Great work. Okay. Any other communications from Mayor and Council? I think I took up more than my allotted time, and now we're beyond time, Shirley. We're down to delegations, and we have Shirley Young here to speak. Podium's right there, Shirley. If you can use that, the right button on the microphone there. If you hit the right one, it'll turn red. And now you're live, you're recorded, everything for posterity from here forward. So judge your words carefully, Shirley, as you always do. We've known Shirley
great.
for a number of years in the Elmwood community. Shirley just has some comments on the Elmwood Library.
Yes.
Floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for giving me the time tonight to come and address you. Earlier today, we met with the library board, and it was productive to a point. At least it gave us an idea of where we are standing. And they pretty much let us know in no uncertain terms that even if the building was 100%, they would not provide service to our community. So that kind of leaves us out in left field. At this time, Verna and Ruth and Bob are part of my delegation, but there's a lot of more people involved. We're wondering if it would be possible if we could run this library independently with volunteers. So I'm putting this forward to council. We were hoping the time frame of 3 months. Apparently we have Hanover library privileges to that point. But that would give us some time to assess what the building needs, what grants we could apply for, what help we can get from the community, and, you know, if that's even feasible. But we would like to put that over now that, so any money that is in reserves, if you could keep it there until we have this up and running. I should maybe elaborate a little more and say that when Bruce County pulled out, I stepped in with the help of Dalton Becker, and I ran that library for 5 years. with help from volunteers. And we've done this before. We can do this again. We are at this point, we don't want to lose this service in our community. It is part of our infrastructure, and there's just too many miles for people to go. So, and the computer access is huge. If we don't have that in town for kids, you know, that need to do homework, for seniors, more and more every day, there's more things that you can do online that people require for you to do that. So we need those computers and that internet access in town. And the community has responded wonderfully. I have a petition here and a letter of support from the community. I have on the petition well over 200 signatures and the letter of support also. There are a few duplicate signatures, I will admit that, but some of the older people couldn't remember if they signed it somewhere else before. But they
Better to
wanted,
sign twice than not at all.
they wanted to make sure, because it is important, and they wanted to make sure that their vote counted. So anyways, I will present this to you. At this time, do you have any questions for us?
Council have any questions at this point in time? Carol?
No, I'm just astounded to hear that that was the word you got from the library report.
Can I use your mic? Put the mic on, Carol. There you go.
Sorry.
Rob?
Can you answer Shirley, why would they come up with a statement like that, saying they wouldn't provide the service there? I know their stance in regards to the condition of the building.
Well, when I was having some conversations with Tim today and trying to narrow them down exactly as to what the issues are, had public health been in, what reports you've had, could we see the report, you know, what structure is involved, what will it take to fix it? He was very evasive on most of that stuff, but by the end of our meeting with him, we asked him point blank if this building was 100%, could we have this library returned, and he said no. They're just not going to do that. So they've already made those decisions, and at this point we feel that it's worth saving, and it's important to our community, so we are going to do whatever we can to save. It's the oldest library probably in Bruce or Grey County. Like, it's a historical building, it's a good service for our community, and you know, the people are speaking and we're saying we need the service.
Bev, go ahead.
You understand that this was not a council decision, that we are as disappointed in this decision by the library board as you are?
Yes, I understand
and that we toured that facility today to sort of take a look at it and see, besides a little bit of a slope on the floor where the kids can play marbles and have a great time, really the fire door, which they said didn't open, that, you know, we don't understand really the problem. So we are looking at a assessment of the building, and I believe that's being done in the next week or two. If the volunteers want to run it, I mean, that'll be a decision of council, I assume, but we were very disappointed at the same thing, so I hope you understand that was not our decision. I was horrified, so just so you know, we'll do everything we can to help you out.
Oh, thank you. Your support is greatly appreciated, Bev. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Bev. John, Deputy Mayor Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Shirley, I congratulate you and your people for coming forward with this idea. Obviously, it's been well thought out on your part, and obviously you're very passionate about it. And I think that council, I'm not going to speak for everybody, I'll speak for myself. I'm certainly willing to listen to what you have to say about the situation. And if we can work with you and try to bring some resolve to this, that'd be great. I'm a little caught off guard here, obviously, by the statement that you made, as are the rest of the councilors. But we probably need a couple of weeks. Maybe we're going to have a committee of the whole meeting, I guess, at the end of the month. And that would be a good time if we can gather some information, have a look at the signatures and figure out how many are duplicates or not.
Yeah.
But figure out how many people you have that want to help you do something for your community. I think that everybody here wants to listen to that. I'll put it that way. I certainly do. And if we can bring something forward, that'd be great. I just think it was a very wise move on council maybe to freeze the rest of that budget, because that might come in handy someday.
Yes.
I'll put it that way.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you so much.
Okay. Don, Councillor Marshall, a representative of the Library Board.
I didn't hear that response from Tim today, and he can't make that decision by himself. The board has to make that decision. And what we're doing now is we're going through and doing a strategic plan for the libraries, and that's what is taking place for the next 2 or 3 months. And that decision will come out of that plan that we're doing. We set up 3 public meetings today to be done in July, and that'll bring in $2,000 out of it. So that's where we're at the board level.
You were sitting there with Tim and I today, and he did make that statement at the end of the meeting. Because we asked him point blank, if we had this building 100%, could we resume service? And that's when he said, no, we have other, yeah, he was talking about other planning and stuff, and we were not in the picture anymore. And that's how that meeting ended.
Well, I believe he couldn't promise that we would go back into the building if it was proven to be okay.
It certainly did not sound very optimistic or supportive.
Okay. Councillor Thompson, yeah?
Yeah, to Councillor Marshall, you said 3 meetings? There's 4 libraries, are you not including Elmwood in this planning?
We had this delegation yesterday, and 250-some signatures on this list that
It will include
Represent
the
that.
planning for Elmwood? As long as it does?
Councillor Lawrence, Carol?
I have a question of our representative on the library board. And Don, you just said that even if the building was 100%, they couldn't promise to go back in and resume the service. Could you tell me why? What is the thought behind this with the board and the staff and the chair? Like, what brought about the discontinuation of service in Elmwood? I know you're going to say the building, well, that's debatable, but if the building is 100%, why would they not resume the service?
Well, we were in the process, our new board was in the process of doing a strategic plan. This came about, and with the strategic plan, this is what we're going to, we wouldn't be talking about this in the strategic plan anyway. And this just carries on with that.
Talking about what?
Talking about the library service and how we're going to provide that.
So are you including service in Elmwood as part of that discussion?
Elmwood and Ayton and Newton and Durham.
And yet you said we could go back in that building, even if it's 100%. So that would sound to me like the decision's been made.
I don't think Tim really said that.
Well,
Not in so many words. He said we wouldn't. I believe I heard him say that if you asked if the building was
100%.
100%, will we go back in there? And
Would service resume? And I got a long spiel from him, and he said no. And he was listing reasons again, as he told me before, apparently, this is how he sees the future of our library. And it's not part of West Gray.
It's not his decision to make alone, as I said. It'd be the whole library board that votes on that in the end.
So you're saying that there is hope that service could resume?
If that strategic plan comes about that way, yes. But it won't be tomorrow. It'll be a couple months probably before that's all ironed out.
Okay. I think Bev touched on it a little bit. I know tomorrow we have the municipality has an air quality control test in the library tomorrow. The tester was some concern with air quality, so we have a company hired to do that. It's been a little more difficult in the spring of the year to find a engineer or architectural engineer, but we have secured one for the 22nd of June, I believe, is when tentatively scheduled that we have an architectural engineer to take a look at some of the concerns that the library board used or were accusations that were in the building at that point in time. So we'll have a professional opinion, not just the board themselves doing that. So when we have that, and I think Larry said that we'll have that bringing forward, hopefully at the committee of the whole meeting on the 29th of June. Correct, Mark, is when the next committee of the whole meeting is? But in the meantime, you know that your council has worked out an agreement, certainly with the town of Hanover Library, and very supportive, and we've always had a reciprocal agreement with Bruce County, with Chesley being the closest there, and or Walkerton Library for individuals to use back and forth. But Hanover has offered there for anybody that had a library card in Elmwood. They have worked that out for the next 3 months until we can work out the issues here. So we're trying our best to do that. I think Mr. Marshall has said on numerous occasions that the library program is delivered through the Libraries Act, and the Library Act says that that is done at arm's length from the council by the appointed board. So we'll be looking at the expectations of delivering that programming to our community in the best manner possible, which would mean service in corners where it is certainly expected. So.
Thank you for listening to us and all your support today, and it really means a lot, you know, to hear that. And if you just keep us informed, like going forward, like, you know, what issues you find out, because the community is ready to get behind it and you know, help in any way they can. So, and you know, if worst comes to worst, you know, we're prepared to do what we can to keep that service here.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that. I know that has certainly been a concern of some of the council members here, one in particular, on having the community volunteer instead of us paying for those services, and here you are. So I hope they'll take that very much in hand and understanding when that goes forward, that they have that type of volunteerism shown in Elmwood, and it rises an awful lot, Shirley. So again, thank you very much. If you have those, the names that you already have, if you can give those to Mark, and yep, hand them to us, and that would be great in the letter. Yeah, and if you want to go one way or the other with it, if anybody wants to look at the names. So thank you very much, Shirley. Greatly appreciate it. Shirley, go ahead.
Again, I want to ask a question of our representative on the board. Don, you mentioned that they were having 3 public meetings. Does that exclude a meeting in Elmwood?
As I told Rob, Rob asked that question, we had this delegation today and we got these signatures.
Well, the delegation and the signatures are one thing, but the community of Elmwood is another thing, and you should hear from all the people. And I would request, and I hope council would back me up in this, that you go back to the board and ask them to have a meeting in Elmwood as well as the other 3. It's only fair to the community. A public meeting, yes. Why would you exclude them when you're going to have one in the other 3 library areas? It's ridiculous.
I will ask him that question.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, thank you very much. We do have one other delegation this evening. I'll get the Scott part right. McClory? No, close enough. All right. Scott is from Moose Power, a solar power company that is looking for municipal support resolutions. So, Scott, I'm going to turn it over to you to give us a bit of an insight on Moose Power.
First, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Mayor, council, and staff, in particular, Mr. Turner, for hearing our request tonight, and specifically Mr. Turner for receiving the correspondence that we've been sending. to council. As you mentioned, we are a solar company, solar provider. We have been operating for 8 years now here in Ontario, mostly rooftop as well as small ground mount projects. There's been a ministerial directive, and we're aware of a new round of procurement. This would be the 4th round of procurement that was to occur this summer. It will likely be pushed off to the fall. However, we look to participate in it and make application. The program is convoluted and always changing, but one of the current aspects of the program is a prioritization scheme that allows applicants or requires applicants to seek different supports for their project. One of those would be municipal support, local municipal support, which qualifies for 2 points in the application ranking program. So this is why I'm here before you. We have an interest in working with residents of the community to make application to the program if and when that window opens. We do believe it'll happen in the fall. And so we would simply seek council's support for those applications in the hope that those applications might turn into successful projects and one day become an actual project. If it pleases you, I might kind of explain a little bit about what these projects, if they came to be, would entail.
Absolutely,
and then
please.
allow you to ask questions.
Yep.
So the program as it now stands is focused on small renewables. Our projects are solar focused, although small water power and biogas and other things do have the ability to apply. When I say small, they're under 500 kilowatts, so these are generally the size that we've done on commercial rooftops. However, they can now be done on the ground in areas that are class 4 and above lands. And I think the policy behind that is to avoid using farmland for these purposes, and they have to have appropriate zoning at the municipal level. These are requirements along with capacity or connection requirements that would make up part of the application review and would end up being part of the decision to have a contract awarded or not. Once a contract was awarded, it would still be required to get all normal municipal and zoning approvals, building, environmental, etc., before it could actually receive permits to be built. The footprint of a rooftop project of the largest size would be about an 80,000 square foot warehouse, and we've done them everywhere from small church buildings, municipal buildings, school buildings, through to those large 80,000, 100,000 square foot warehouses. And on the ground, at the max size, the footprint on the ground would be roughly 4 acres, and then setbacks, visual screenings and fencing around them probably to about 5 or 6 acres.
Very good. Thank you, Scott. We've had a few of these before. We have previously just passed them on an individual basis, so I'll ask council if there's any questions at this point in time. Bev? Councillor Cutting?
I don't really understand why you would ask us to do a carte blanche type bylaw. You know, these projects are not done in 2 weeks. These projects are done over a year or two. So
Correct.
What would be the difference with you coming and specifically stating this project is what you're now seeking approval from the municipality for? I don't, there should never be something, in my opinion, that is just carte blanche. You go right ahead and do whatever you want to come in and work with the or come in and work with residents. It seems to me that it needs to be on an individual project by project basis. That's like the wind turbine company coming to us and saying, well, just give us carte blanche so we can go ahead and try and get, more people on the ground to take turbines. Like we're not going to do that. So I don't understand why we would do it for wind solar.
The resolution that we're requesting is a standard form resolution, and it really is very limited in scope, and seeks only to request support for the application, not for a project. So any particular project would still need to go through the contract approvals process to receive a contract. You know, at that point, we would still need sort of effective support from municipality for the construction of a project. It's a resolution that has been developed in standard form by the ISO. And I think it was really done in response to municipalities who did not want to view applicants, many municipalities receiving many people who wanted to apply to the program and did not want to take up council's time for each applicant. So the resolution in the wording that's the standard wording that's provided provides support for the application and specifically limits that to prioritization points, not to the construction of any particular program. So it's certainly open to council to support individual projects or support absolutely no projects. It would not change the number of contracts awarded provincially. It simply, if passed, provides extra support and priority points for projects in the municipality.
Okay, Viv?
Okay.
So, to me, it wouldn't make, if you're saying that some municipalities don't want to have a whole bunch of deluge of people coming in, I don't see that happening here. So to
Nope.
me, I would still say that myself would individually prefer to see where the projects are going and, the scope of the project, et cetera, and support them on an individual basis. That would be the way I would vote.
Okay.
Doug first.
Sort of on the same pretenses. So if another company came to us and said, we would like to provide solar panels in this area, and if we've already say given you the blanket policy, does that
Yes.
prevent them from coming into this municipality then to do the same thing?
No, not at all. Quite the opposite. And it's certainly a strategy that some project proponents or applicants have taken to actually make a motion before council to dissuade councils from passing the blanket resolution in order to sort of protect a competitive sphere. This resolution, if you chose to pass it, would be equally as applicable to anybody else as it would be to us. We've just felt that with many municipalities we've worked with, it's been seen as expedient. So and it does help our development process. Often I want to be delicate about this, but ensuring that where actual zoning or development issues, which will be dealt with in the normal course, aren't at this early stage, pre-application, pre-contract, used to sort of identify neighbors who might not like a neighbor without getting into the project specifics because an actual project hadn't yet been tabled.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I totally follow what you said there, but
Yeah.
my concern would be that if we gave you a blanket opportunity that you could go in and approach property owners and make deals, sort of like the windmills did, make deals, and then the property owner next to that solar panel may not like it and may not have any recourse to come back to us and say, hey, we didn't want about this, it's already a signed deal, done deal, and now we have no recourse. So that would be my concern with doing this blanket thing.
Understood. I guess, again, I could only point to that this is not a project approval request. It's simply an application support resolution. So applications, we certainly seek with any application or project that we would seek to put forward, obviously find sites and locations that both would fit the program best and would go forward as smoothly as possible. The requested resolution really wouldn't have too much bearing on that one way or another.
Okay, anything further? Carol? Yep, go ahead. Yep, yes, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm not going to repeat, Bev said pretty much the way I feel. Let me make it clear, I'm not against solar. I'm not enamored whatsoever. I do not like wind turbines, but I think solar is a much better, but I am totally against giving a blanket support. I don't think this council would be too unhappy if you came for each project and we at least know where it is, how many, and the location. And when it comes to a vote, Mr. Mayor, I'll be asking for a recorded vote, and I will not be supporting the blanket. It's not to say I wouldn't support it on one by one if it had more information.
Understood.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Bell, John?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Real quick, Scott, thank you for your presentation. One thing, do you need three-phase power at the end of the road to hook up to solar project?
It might not be required. Commercially, I can't see it feasible without.
Okay.
Would be my statement, but that wouldn't be on behalf of any proponent. I can't see commercial.
You said the maximum would be 4 acres?
Yes.
Okay. And the other thing, what about solar panels on, say, the top of municipal buildings?
Absolutely would fall in underneath this program.
You have experience putting those on, and you would be interested in looking at that in West Grey?
Yes to both.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Doug?
I was just going to reiterate, again, I'm not against solar power either, but, and I think there's opportunity out there, but I just have concerns with the blanket thing, and again, I'd be willing, if you come forward with projects and we give you the go-ahead, that's fine, but it's just the blanket issue that I'm a little fearful of. Okay.
Well, I certainly appreciate the opportunity to come and speak and make this request, and I would, depending on how council votes in regards to the current request, certainly welcome the opportunity to come back and put a request for support before you in the case of any individual project.
Okay, any other questions for Scott? Yes, Don?
I guess
Councilor
just for clarification, because I think you're trying to say some things and we're hearing another thing over here.
Sure.
The Green Energy Act, if we do this blanket thing, it's 2 points on their list.
Yep.
So if we approve of this, it doesn't give you any leverage to put them wherever you want.
No, sir.
It's sort of as saying that the municipality is a willing host to
Yes.
wind turbine, or to solar panels. And that's basically what I think is all that's to it, is that we're just saying we are a willing host, and then when you do find a project you're going to apply for, you have to come back to us for our blessing at that time. Is that correct?
There are many other approvals, and there's many other factors that would go in, even into the approving of any particular application. It's a program, although it provides a good foundation of what we do. It's not necessarily anything we understand or agree with all the steps in it. That is the extent of this. It's just an approval stamp or a support stamp.
Further, Bev?
Well, even though you'd have to get approvals of something, if we give you a carte blanche, what you're asking for here, pardon? Use Carol's.
That mic seems to be a little off. Can Carol turn hers on? And
That's not a talk.
yes, you must talk to him.
It still allows you to apply for projects, and once the projects are approved, it's like wind turbines. Once the projects are approved, and you have the contracts for the people, it becomes nearly impossible to say no, even if you are an unwilling host. We've experienced that in the last 5 years. So
Sure.
that's what worries me, is that just because it's carte blanche and you have to come back, that gives you the ability to go out and seek approvals and approach residents, et cetera, without our having any sort of knowledge as to where you're looking or what you're looking at or whatever. Whereas if you have to come back individually, then you know, we'd have a little better understanding. It wouldn't just kind of blow up in our face like the turbines did.
Understood.
So, okay.
Yep.
Okay? Don, further.
I guess it's putting the horse before the cart, though. If you don't have these, if you don't have the 2 points to put on your application, you're probably not going to get the FIT contracts. Is that correct?
We do see this program being highly oversubscribed, and so we feel for our applications, given that there's quite a bit of money and effort that will go in behind them, that those 2 points will be very important. I know there are many others who, you know, feel that in certain circumstances that a lot of the applications will be done erroneously and they'll have an easier time with it. In our experience, it's been very competitive. So yes, I do see the municipal support points as being crucial to an application's success.
So do you go out and get farmers or property owners contracts before council knows? I guess you won't. You won't be able to get contracts because you just won't be able to approach these people without the proper steps.
We could certainly find a site host, whether it was a piece of land or it was a commercial building in town or a municipal building in town, and agree to work together to make application to the program. However, that's still a long ways away from being a contract or having a power purchase agreement, which would allow a project to go through commercially.
Okay, Don? Any other further questions for Scott? Mark? You have a motion. Yep. Go ahead, Mark.
So I do have a motion prepared if council wishes to entertain moving and seconding it. If not, then I guess it won't be introduced.
Before we get that, when does the application have to go in? Like, next week, next month, 1st September?
I wish I could tell you with certainty. We had, at the best of our knowledge, a date of mid-July. And although there has been nothing definitive from the IESO, who is the agency now tasked with procuring, or
Right.
from the minister, everything that we've heard in the past week leads us to believe that this will actually be pushed off till the fall. So, without creating undue urgency, or, you know, to not unduly create urgency, I believe that we will not see the application window open until September-ish. I believe the policy reasoning behind it is that the ISO would like to do a further price review in between the current time and when that application window opens. So whereas a few weeks ago I might have thought that I would have thought that it would be opening July 13th in and around,
Right.
I believe now with our best information it would likely be September.
Okay. Sometime, and I'll give you some free advice. A lot of people say, you know, what good free advice is, but anyways, here it goes. My feeling is that, you know, I think council, and certainly in the past, there has been that expression that we're very much interested in small solar projects, whether they be, you know, on, there was a company out there a few years ago that was building sheds for farmers and whatnot,
Yes.
situating them in the right place so that they could have solar panels on the roofs. That there was some interest in West Grey on that, and it didn't come through, but it was supported when we kind of had the idea of where some of these were. Is it possible to get, you know, not an exact list, but kind of, my advice would be for you to find some of the locations, not definitive that these two are absolute and those are the ones that we want, but some of that location, I think we've heard from a couple of the councillors here that, you know, they want kind of an idea of what we're at. We had a company here a few years ago that wanted to put in, you know, it can't be on A1, 2, or 3 land, but there's a fair bit of A4, A5 land that is very productive here in Grey County. I'm not sure that we have, in West Grey, have a whole lot of A1 land, but those are restricted areas for you. But
Yes.
there was 20, 25 acre parcels that were proposed, and that, we're not that keen on that, of seeing our agricultural land put under glass, unless it's a greenhouse. But if there was a little more homework from Moose Power on, you know, we have half a dozen locations and we think 3 or 4 of these might fit to come with that proposal. My advice is that we would probably look at it. I'm not certain I can find a mover and a seconder for a blanket invitation, or a blanket motion tonight. But if we had a little bit more of that information and a little clarity, we could probably get something moved at that point in time. And if it's off until September, that certainly gives you a bit of time to drive some of the back roads and find out where that 80,000 square foot rooftop barn is and where that municipal structure is, and take a look at them to see how they would fit in, or where that landfill is, and maybe we can put them in a landfill, on a municipal landfill.
Absolutely. Well, we have a number, and look forward to, you know, working with you to explore more opportunities, and very much appreciate council and staff's time in hearing this request, which was the first step, and I'll be very pleased to follow up with the second, again, standard form site-specific ones. You'll just have to indulge me and be willing to have me back.
Absolutely.
Maybe more than a few times, but thank you again for your time, and look forward to appearing before you again.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you very much, Scott. And look forward to working with you, whether it, you know, be in the municipality or be with the municipality constituents out there. Great. Yep, we do. Thank you. Okay. Let's get moving on here. So we're down to staff reports. If I'm not mistaken, Carrie, yours is, Director of Finance Carrie is here. Bring it through Moose Power. And the first one is the vouchers. We have the voucher package, the voucher forms are in our package. Voucher number 11. Is there any questions, comments on any of the accounts? It's a little bit bigger. It starts with a 2 and a comma. Usually starts just with a 4 or a 5 and go 3 letters before we get to the comma. So this one's a little bigger, but it does our taxes to the county and the school board are in this one. So I have a motion moved by Robert Thompson and seconded by John A. Bell. Be it resolved that the Director of Finance Treasurer be authorized to pay the accounts presented as voucher number 11, 2015 of the Municipality of West Grey in the amount of $2,492,893.49. As I said, this one is a quarterly one that's a little bit bigger, as we collect for 2 other school boards and the county and transfer those payments on. It's not like we're throwing money. Well, I guess we're throwing it to 2 different other governing bodies. Any questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. Carrie, your second report here is one that I guess I missed last time when we had our auditors here. But instead of blaming myself, I'm going to pass it off on Mark. He decided he wouldn't be here, and he's the guy that really keeps all of this straight. We missed this the last time, was the acceptance of our consolidated financial statements, the audited statements for the year, and we should have had a motion to do that, and we missed that last time. So we made sure certain it was on here, and everything was adjusted accordingly since that time. I have a motion moved by Don B. Marshall, seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby accepts the Municipality of West Grey consolidated financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2014, as prepared by BDO Canada LLP. Any questions or comments? And they should have been directed to Elaine when she was here 2 weeks ago. Very good statement, Carrie. Congratulations to your department and everybody that works to put those together. There's a few millions of dollars, and for $1 million, it seems like there's a million entries in and out of our statements as well too to do. So congratulations on getting a good statement together for us. Any other questions on the motion? All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Your third report, Carrie, is on the water and sewer rate bylaw. The amendment. Any comments on that one?
Just, it was an oversight in the previous bylaw that was drafted. It was part of our calculations when we did the review, but I just missed adding and referencing Schedule F in the previous bylaw. So this just addresses that, and it deals with the...
Questions, Doug? Yep, certainly. Turn your mic on, you'll get to answer a question.
Okay. Gary, and maybe we've gone over this before, but I've missed it. I just had a resident ask me about the finance charges. Can you explain, why, I think it's something like $60 a bill, it seems to me, why that finance charge? Where does that come from? How does it, is it going to be there forever? And can you just explain the finance charge?
It's a flat charge as opposed to the water consumption and sewer rate charges, which vary depending on the consumption. It's a flat portion charge on the bill, and it goes towards capital upgrades and paying the financing for those capital upgrades. So will it go away? No, we'll still keep doing projects. Every time we dig up a road, do the water tower. Right now, the debt on the water system is relates to the booster station, the underground work for the Garifaxis Street, and the O-Star upgrades that were done to the water treatment plants. And those were millions of dollars of projects. Of course, the system didn't have it at the time, so we had to finance it. So right now, those charges go towards paying that. When those are done, if we don't have another project, it'll go into a reserve. But once we do that, next road work, like the underground, it doesn't pay for the road, but the underground water sewer servicing, or if we do the water tower or the new well that's being looked at and engineered and constructed, that would go towards maintaining that system.
Okay. So maybe, I'm not sure if this gentleman or even myself, if we're all in the same boat, that maybe we need to communicate that in a better fashion so that, the consumption part of it, people understand that, but maybe the financing, they maybe don't understand that's a ongoing thing, and it's for what's happened in the past, but also in the future. So maybe we can just reiterate that maybe in one of the bills or something to clarify that. Because some people think of finance, you're paying for something and eventually it should go away, but it's not going to go away. Right?
Theoretically, it could, but
Well, yeah.
yeah,
Not like
I think Carrie's being more than upfront and honest with us. When the Act was changed, that the system had to be self-sustaining and self-supporting within those users. That's when we recognized that a small capital charge, as Carrie said, to pay down those capital. That's when we had no reserves in that system to be able to do those upgrades that were needed. Mm-hmm. And are there continuously going to be some out there? Yes. It certainly won't stop us from looking at provincial or federal grants for the systems, and we certainly we have a new well that's coming on, and we know the last estimate on that, Ken, was 850,000 that, to be able to do all of that. The well's there, we've got all kinds of water, it's just to get that treatment process, the capital to be able to get that water online and get it going, so.
So it's just another way of reporting it, rather
Yeah.
than burying it in the consumption charges, which would, you could do it that way and say it's covering, you're allowing so much in there for capital expenditures and so on. You're putting it out there as a separate, which is fine, just as long as everyone understands that. I guess that's the main thing. Yeah.
Carol?
Costs and so on. I thought that was fairly self-explanatory.
Well, I have to look at it again, but I didn't think it did that well, but I'll look.
Certainly clarifies that there's capital and ongoing operation.
We can look at putting something like that forward in one of the, in the newsletter and/or in the quarterly billing or something maybe as well too, that goes out.
Probably better in the actual insert with the water bill because it doesn't affect all the ratepayers. It may
Yeah.
be confusing if it's just in our tax
Yeah, if it goes in the
insert.
tax newsletter, yeah. So, see if we can put something in there to, just add that information in, Doug. Okay? All right. So that was that one. Now I've gone. Okay, the next one was, that's it on that bylaw. The next one was the employee remuneration bylaw. And the options that we had set out in that, making the grid adjustments the 1st of July. So, and putting that in place, following the recommendations from our consultant on looking at that from Warden up to Grove. So, any questions on that for Kerry? We've had extensive reports on it, and I'm not, like anything, I'm not certain that there's 100% buy-in from the employee, from all of our employees, but it was a request from the Employee Consultation Committee to take a look at it. Certainly something that absolutely should be done on a regular basis, and this is what we've come up with in doing a lot of work with our comparators out there, agreed upon comparator municipalities and where we should be. So a lot of great work done on it and hard work juggling all those numbers. So thanks again on that, Kerry. All right. And the last one, I guess, is the council remuneration there for till the end of May. Are there any questions on that? All right. I guess that's it, Kerry. Unless you've got anything else you want to quiz us about or looking for direction on? All right. Very good. Okay, thanks, Kerry. What's the next one? Ken's report? I guess we do. I skipped past one. I was going to go down to Phil, but don't want to bypass 1A for 1B. Ken, your reports there. The first one is just an update on culvert damage, concrete structure down in Normanby that a farmer had an incident with. So any update on that, Ken?
Yeah, we've contacted Saugeen Valley, of course, and WSP, the engineering firm, and Saugeen Valley have been very cooperative. They're going to allow us to put in a closed-in box, a concrete box culvert, and we're just currently getting, looking at the best price for the one that, for the design that will work over there. And we can't really do anything until mid-July because of the cold water stream. We'll have to divert the stream that's there and then install the new, take out the damaged structure and install a new one. But once the middle of July comes along, it should be fairly quick to get that back open again. So.
Very good. It's nice to report that we're getting, cooperation between governing bodies here, the conservation working with us. Just want to put that out there. Don, Councillor Marshall.
Is this covered by insurance?
The party that done the damage had no insurance, but we have notified them by letter that we will be seeking compensation for the damages that occurred. So
The price of a box culvert's about $150,000.
yeah, the box culvert's about 50, and then it'll probably take another 50 to get it in. So probably around the 100 anyway, Don. Yeah.
Thank you.
I do believe that we've made the offending party, we've given them acknowledgement that we will be expecting restitution on this.
Yes, there was a letter sent to the party that we will be seeking compensations.
Yeah. Okay. All right. The next one, the Mew Creek Bridge, better known as the Bill and Kevin. Go ahead.
Yes, this is one that's finally, I think there might be light at the end of the tunnel. It's been going on for probably 10 years at least. We do have a contractor in place now to replace the bridge. It's Owen King from Walkerton area. And they're going to start on June 22nd, and the road will be closed for some time, 5 months. But will certainly be an upgrade to the road, and they'll have a safe bridge to cross when it's completed. But it's been a long time in the works. It's I think back in 2004 or 2005 we started negotiating with the counties, and it's taken its time.
It's certainly been a while. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Won't say just how long or how slow municipal governance works, but it has been a hard battle with the amount of individual fingers that are in this pie. So good to hear. And have we given notice to the affected parties close by there on both sides of the bridge, Ken?
Yes, there was letters went out last week from both South Bruce and West Gray for the neighboring.
Yep, very good.
Property owners that the road will be closed. So.
All right, and we have the bylaw on that tonight on the agenda as well too.
Yeah, there's a bylaw that not only for the construction but also the maintenance down the road. So
yeah,
that's included in the bylaw. So it's
okay.
Pretty self-explanatory.
Yep. Any questions of Ken? We did have the opportunity of a committee of the whole. We had Ken's undivided attention on a facilities tour starting this morning at 8 o'clock. So anybody out there on mainstreaming from Wightman wonders why we're not giving Kenny any questions at this point in time. A lot of them were answered today from, we're done pretty much with all of our dust suppressant on the roads and everything else. So those questions were answered and on the tour today when we're doing roads and facilities. So thank you for getting that organized today, Ken and Larry, Mark, whoever else was responsible for it. So Larry, well, I'll say Larry twice. So there you go, Larry. Okay. All right. No other questions for Ken? Can we take just a couple of minute break here, and we'll be right back with the fire chief's report. Okay? Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order. Down to the fire chief. Welcome this evening, Phil. And so you want to start with number one, is the AAP program and what you found out on that? That little button. Thanks, Phil.
Little button. You requested Jeff Muster come up and explain a few things to you. One of the questions that you had was, is it available to all employees? And yes, it is. He'll be here at the committee of the whole meeting on the 29th, I believe it is. And you can ask him some questions, so write your questions down so you got lots of them to keep him busy.
No, I just like surprising Jeff. He's pretty good at that. We'll just, yeah. I'll give him any forewarning.
Shoot from the hip.
Shoot from the hip on him. No, that's very good. Find out. I know that there's some other employees looking, other divisions looking at that as well too, so be a good way to start the conversation. Okay, so look forward to that at Committee of the Whole.
Okay.
All right. I think that's the easy one. What's this next one about it?
At this time, I would like to pull the second report, and I need to revisit it. There's a few things I need to check on, and we'll I'd present it at the Committee of the Whole meeting.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes things a lot shorter and quicker. All right. Look forward then to some more clarification then on that is the truck proposal for Ayton that we've put into place. So we'll have you and the truck committee, I guess, or whoever it is, do a little bit more work on that one, and look forward to that report at Committee of the Whole. Thanks, Phil.
Thank you. Was there anything about your tour today you wanted to ask about any of the fire halls or anything while you're here?
No, the lunch was fabulous at Wightman Hall.
Good. Who supplied that?
Lioness, Ayton Lionesses did that part. Yeah, they did a very good job.
We missed it. We can tell you we didn't.
Sorry, Ron. Yeah. No, we're not. No, they did a very good job. No, all stations looked, we did, well, two of the fire stations. We didn't do the Durham station. And we didn't cross over, I guess, the county line. We stayed in Elmwood. We stayed on the West Grey side, so we didn't do the Elmwood fire station. But I think a number of individuals were up 2 weeks ago for the pancake fireman's breakfast. They always put on a pretty good show up there in Elmwood for that. I happened to be away in Edmonton at FCM for that.
We don't have a key for that fire hall either. There would not have been anybody who did it.
Okay. Yeah. And one thing that we did notice down at Ayton, there was a nice new rack. There was an awful lot of good shoes there. You know, Mr. Bell, he said that he thought he could use some of them picking stones. I said that would be a new thing, so we still left them there.
I had 6 pair on my side.
Yeah, if the stones are going to be picked.
The racks were just built, the boots were actually bought 2 years ago, 3 years ago? 2 years ago. And we just sacrificed a new pair of turnouts to get the boots, so it come out of that capital for safety equipment.
Very good. All right. Any other questions for Phil or Ron while they're here? Very good. All right, thank you. And as I said, we'll look forward to seeing that in a week's time. 2 weeks' time, I guess. 2 weeks for Committee of the Whole. One of the times when we have 5 Mondays. Well, I guess then if you're struggling picking that up, you're picking stones out at Bell's won't be much of a chance for you then. Way too much information, yes. Let's move on. All right, so that's Phil's report. Then we're down to the CO Deputy Clerk, Larry.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I have a number of information reports for council this evening. The one is to report that we did attend a joint waste management meeting with representatives from Chatsworth, Grey Highlands, and Southgate on June the 9th. We've decided to look into the item a little further, as it turns out we're not the only ones that are looking to tender out potentially, and by working together we may be able to find some efficiencies and synergies on a go-forward basis. So on that committee, along with Ken Gould and myself, are councillors Marshall and Hutchison, who are both in attendance, and if they have anything more they'd like to add at this point in time, please feel free to do so, but just want council to be aware that we did attend that meeting, and we're looking forward to moving forward, working with our neighbours in regards to this, potentially together.
Okay, question, John, Deputy Mayor Bell.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Larry, probably for you or any of the councilors, do the other municipalities seem to be in the same boat that we are? Are the concerns similar? Are they somewhat different? Are they all encompassing? And are we looking for partners that may or may not be there with the same type of commitment that West Grey has to try to fix this problem?
Not wanting to steal thunder from the two elected officials, but it's my understanding that based on the comments made at that session, we're all struggling with the same situation. We are all faced with limited landfill site capacity over the next few years. We're all facing tenders that are coming up for garbage collection, how we collect garbage, how we deal with it, how we manage it on a go-forward basis is something that we're all concerned about. A number of options were brought to the table that night. Southgate was there and did a demonstration on how they actually handle their garbage in the cart system and that sort of thing, and composting, and that they collect organics and streamline that from recyclables and a few other processes that they have in place currently. So everything's on the table. I guess at this point in time, we're going to be looking into options and bringing some potentially recommendations back for council to consider. So that's my summary of the meeting, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, further, Doug?
Yeah, and Southgate had some interesting ideas. I think they said something like 40% they figure was organics in the waste stream, and so they by recycling the organics they saved a lot that way. They also have weigh scales, and they weigh everything, which is an interesting concept. They said that really gives them a better handle on what they're what's coming and going and their costs. So they're not cheap, the weigh scales, but that's another concept that was interesting. Yeah, they're well organized, Southgate, and what they're doing with their recycling. And then they use the cart system too, which they run their own system, right? They have their own trucks. Yeah. So it's different.
Yep, employees. And I don't know, either waste diversion, but however it still works out, we're still ahead of them. So when it comes to that waste diversion part. Anything else, Don?
Well, as far as the waste diversion went, we were told that our numbers are flawed, and Southgate's is right.
Ours are accepted by the ministry that pays,
Yep.
that gives us the refund, so I'm not going to argue.
Yeah, that's, but he told us point blank that he didn't want anybody in the room to get mad at him, but he was going to tell you the right figures. What I took from the meeting is that they want to go big. They want to joint tender the garbage pickup. They want to amalgamate all the dumps. There was talk of closing the small ones, filling up the small ones as quick as possible, they said, and then running the larger ones. I brought up that in my opinion, I think that if we're going to control the landfills, we have to, and the garbage and the recycling, we have to stop the garbage pickup altogether, and that didn't go over too well. But pardon me? But I think it's going to be a huge cost. Southgate did not, I don't think they acknowledged how much this system was costing them over there, even if it was a good system. The trucks that they're buying and the bins they have to buy. And I think a few people really were getting on board with that presentation that Southgate done. So if you're not concerned about the cost of these programs, then it might be the way to go. But it's going to be, once you go down that road, it'll be an incinerator someday probably. And I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that will be the route that this committee will be taking us
in the long run, probably.
I had the opportunity, one of the tours, I didn't say that in comments from the communications, but last week I was in Edmonton for FCM, Federation of Canadian Municipalities. And Edmonton, the city itself, is doing a tremendous amount of work on recycling, diversion, and they've put in, are just in the process of putting in the first in North America, and I still haven't got my head wrapped around the gasification plant. Anything that they can't really divert is going to go through this gasification plant to make methanol and ethanol fuels. And then they're going to use that ethanol and methanol in a generator to generate electricity, and they're projecting that they'll be able to generate enough on a daily basis for 5,000 homes. They're capturing the methane off of their closed landfill, which is somewhere around 135 acres that they have closed, capped, and have all the piping in it. They closed it in 1999, and they're still taking methane off of that. And they have an incinerator there as well too, that they're generating electricity from on their diversion paper products. They cut it into almost a fluff, they call it, and that's being burnt. And they have a huge, huge organics program there as well too. And I've got it written down, but it's into the millions of cubic yards per year that they're turning out of their organics composting spot as well too. But as you said, Don, it seemed that the sky was the limit, because this gasification plant, they didn't say how many millions, but there was 3 cranes operating on site putting this thing up. So, and they weren't small cranes either. There's some about the same size as what we have working here in West Grey right at the present moment. So you got a size of the of this project that they're doing, and it's something that they've really dug into and said they had to do to be able to protect the environment. So there'll be a lot of good stuff coming forward from a number. I don't think we have to invent every new wheel here, but there's certainly some good ones out there we can follow along with as they develop them. Okay? Larry?
One thing which I forgot to mention is that one of the successful programs that Southgate had put in place is something I think called Cough Drop. It's an orange bin where they take household hazardous waste, and the household hazardous waste, it takes approximately 3 minutes to and they have a firm that comes in and then takes all of the hazardous waste out, and then they move it to a different landfill, much as we're considering here to get household hazardous waste depots at all of our transfer sites, or sorry, all of our current landfills. And what they do is they leave it one place for 3 months, it fills up, the firm comes in, empties it, then they transport it with a ministry-approved vehicle to the other landfill site that they have, and then within 3 months they're able to fill that again, so they keep rotating in between their landfill sites, which allows to have household hazardous waste pickup pretty well year-round within their community. And that's something that we're looking into. I know Ken is looking into the opportunity to do that at our sites as well. So that was one thing that they are doing successfully, and would be more than happy to share that information with us. So that's one thing that I did want to point out, which we brought up at that meeting and seemed to be very receptive with the members of the crowd.
Yeah. That's excellent. And seeing as Larry's mic's not working, I know that we're going to get a report on what we can do with this sound system at Committee of the Whole. I've talked, it is getting a little frustrating, so we'll see what we come up with there on that. Maybe this sound system, we do have an electronics recycling down at our own landfill. We don't have to look to Southgate for it right at the present moment. Anyways, moving on. Larry, just a bit of information on the administrative assistant, accounts receivable clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Position.
Yes, I want to be keep council in the loop on this. There was 77 applications received. I established a committee to review those applications with me of Treasurer Carrie Maiden and the incumbent Joanne Christie. We were able to shortlist that list down to 5, and we interviewed 5 people on Wednesday, June the 10th, and I look forward to discussing this at more length with council once we complete our due diligence. So.
Okay, thank you. Strategic planning.
Yes, sir. Just wanted to report that there were 3 requests for proposals were received by the due date. I'm going through them, and I will have a summary, hopefully, for the committee of the whole later this month.
Anybody want to talk about the Newstead Dam or lack of funding for it?
Just an update, Your Worship. We've been denied our application for funding for the dam. We've been met with the consultant a couple of times, and we hope to have a report coming back with a summary of input from the public meeting at the meeting forthcoming at the end of the month. That's for council's information as well.
Okay.
And the last item I have is I'd like to thank council for the opportunity to attend the OMAA training session held earlier this month. Numerous senior speakers in the fields of municipal law, labor negotiations, finance, climate change, its effect on local municipalities, and panels of CAOs, as well as a series of motivational speakers. And I do have a copy of our agenda that was available for anyone to take a look at, should you so desire. And I just wanted to thank council for the opportunity to attend that training in AGM. That's my report, Your Worship.
Always, any of those sessions are good sessions, not only the network, individuals and bouncing things off and trying to figure out, are we the only ones that are having a problem? Anything else, Larry?
Just one last thing which did not make my report, but I was very proud this morning when we were able to throw the switch in our electronic sign, which is out here. We were able to get a picture of the entire council and myself in front of it. That sign will be running 24/7 for the time being, broadcasting events and issues and updates that are going on within West Grey. And I would encourage all of our ratepayers as they're driving by to look at the information we provide on that, as well as the news and updates we do have on our website, which you can subscribe to. So that's all information available, and just wanted to say, woohoo, we finally got it lit up and running.
Yes, and the first thing that I saw on there was the advertising for the Durham Dodgers softball thing that Councillor Thompson had spoke about coming up this coming weekend. So hopefully that'll get even a few more people down over the hill to the ball diamonds again for a good Saturday afternoon ball tournament. Or display of ball from 6 to 36, I think maybe it'll be the ages that'll be participating. And maybe more than 36. I don't know how old the oldest is. Okay. All right. Any other questions for Larry on his updates? Okay. I guess that brings us down to bylaws, Mark. Okay. Yeah, that was the one on the, so the Elmwood Fire, we had tabled that, and I think we've got it back here with some clarification, so we'll need a motion to lift that to start before we get into that bylaw. So we'll start with that one. Yeah. Yep. Don't forget the motion to introduce. I have a motion moved by Carol Lawrence and seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that the Council, Municipality of West Grey hereby lifts Resolution 174-15 from the table. That was the tabling of bylaw number 33, a bylaw to regulate the Elmwood Fire Department. Okay, motion is to lift. Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. All right. So we'll start with bylaw number 33, which is a bylaw to establish and regulate the Elmwood Fire Department. I have a motion moved by Don B. Marshall, seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that bylaw number 33, 2015, being a bylaw to establish and regulate the Elmwood Fire Department, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Now, there was a couple of questions on that, and the chair of the Elmwood Board, have you got answers to those questions, Bev?
I do. The question was on Appendix B as to whether the change should be made to the may to shall. And upon reading this further and asking questions of the chief of the Elmwood Fire Service, this is regarding staffing levels, as you see under the heading. So what it's saying is, I mean, the staffing levels is a maximum of 28 members. I believe we have 21 at this point. We've never had 28 members in the entire time that I've been on the board for 13 years, so I don't see how we'll ever get up there. But this is basically a staffing level. So if there was somebody who was going to be promoted to a captain, or we were able to bring on another member for the fire service, if it's deemed necessary that the joint board feels that that needs to come back. However, the other services in the area do not, like Durham, Neustadt, Ayton, do not have to come back to council to have somebody added as a staff or have somebody promoted. And I don't believe, under the circumstances here, that it needs to be mandatory to come back to council. It should be at the discretion of the joint board if they feel it's necessary, if staffing levels are going to go up, which we're not going to be able to because very few are volunteering anymore, so it's hard enough to get up. So that was the request, and when I reread it and talked to Sharon and then spoke to Mike, I don't believe it's really necessary to change that from may to shall.
Okay. And if this is this obviously is an Elmwood, and it seems like, you know, there's going to be a vast majority of the volunteer hours are going to be at the library, not at the fire department, so yeah, you probably will find difficulty finding more members to be there. Oh, yes. Mark just reminded me, we did find a spelling that in Appendix A, there was, B had 2 E's on it. I don't think it was, sorry.
No, just the word B.
Oh.
What it was.
Wasn't, okay, sorry.
Wasn't required.
Yeah. Took that out too, as a, yeah. So, no, the ones in front of us tonight, it's not, it has been amended, so I don't think we need to say it's amended in this one. Okay? Any other questions on the bylaw? Yeah. This is the way it's tabled here. Okay? We'll call the question then. All those in favor? Any opposed? I'll declare that carried. Very good. All right. Mark, then we have, I believe, a couple of other bylaws here. So we'll hand those resolutions out. One being on the we have another five bylaws here, so. We did that. Carries. Yeah. Give me the right ones here. 36 and 40. Okay, we'll get the paperwork straight here. So the next bylaw on our agenda was bylaw number 36. It was an amending bylaw of 25. It was to amend those water and sewer rates that our finance director, Ms. Mighton, was talking about. I have a motion moved by Doug Hutchison, seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that bylaw number 36, 2015, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 25, 2015, being a bylaw to regulate the distribution and use of water and use of sewer system, fixed prices and times of payment, establish and impose water and sewage rates and times for payment, and to require mandatory connection to municipal water and sanitary sewage works for Newstead and Durham, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions or comments on this bylaw? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. The next bylaw, number 37, is a site plan control area for Viking surveys. As a motion moved by Don B. Marshall and seconded by Carol Lawrence, be it resolved that bylaw number 37, 2015, being a bylaw to establish a site plan control area within the limits of the corporation of the Municipality of West Grey, Viking Surveys Limited, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Mark, comments?
Yes, I did receive the site plan agreement from the consultant today, and it has been forwarded to the municipal planner and the municipal solicitor for review, as well as likely the County of Grey Planning Department will be provided a copy. And we hope to have the agreement by bylaw on the July 6th council meeting for council's consideration. So it's progressing.
Very good. Hopefully we can work with one of our municipal employers and businesses to get their expansion that they're looking to do for their business. Any other questions on the site plan control? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay, thanks, Mark. Bylaw number 38 is bylaw to set the remuneration allowances for employees. I have a motion moved by Rob Thompson and seconded by Doug Hutchison. Be it resolved that bylaw number 38, 2015, being a bylaw to set remuneration and allowances for employees of the Municipality of West Grey, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions or comments on this? This was another one that Carrie discussed when she was here. Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Very good. Bylaw number 39 is a bylaw to enter into a joint agreement with the municipality of South Bruce for the construction of the bridge on Mew Creek. I have a motion moved by Carol Lawrence, seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that bylaw number 39, 2015, being a bylaw to enter into a joint agreement with the municipality of South Bruce for the construction and continued maintenance of the Carrick-Normanby Mew Creek Bridge, structure 1021 on concession 12 east in the former township of Carrick and the township of Normanby, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions or comments on this motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. it. With 40. Don, go ahead.
Just a question on that bylaw we just passed, that 1.3. How many times can the what do you call them, manager of operations from Southbury authorize a $10,000 upgrade to a project?
The contingency?
It's, he can approve a $10,000 additional cost. How many times can you do that in the project?
I believe there's a 10% contingency in there, so that would be about 100,000, Larry? If I'm not mistaken. So it'd only be up to that amount in the contingency. So I guess about 10 times.
10 times?
Yeah. If that contingency is part, if it went beyond that, then you wouldn't. That would be my understanding of the way that the contract would be operated. And Adam, I can't think of his last name but Adam, yeah, that would be it. If it went beyond that, so it would be in that contingency at $10,000 a time.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. All right. And bylaw number 40 is a bylaw to confirm the proceedings. I have a motion moved by John A. Bell and seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that bylaw number 40, 2015, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the June 15th, 2015 council meeting, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions or comments on this motion? All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. All right. That's it for bylaws, Mark. Very good. New business. Yeah. Any addendums, notice of motion, or direct motions? I'm not aware of any this evening. All right. We do have a closed session matter dealing with an employee. But I'll jump before we go to closed session if there's any questions on anything on the agenda. We're fine?
We know it.
Very good. Thank you. Good night. I don't think you'll need the sunglasses now. We're beyond that point. Hopefully not. Okay. I have a motion moved by John A. Bell and seconded by Rob Thompson, whereas the Municipal Act SO 2001 Section 239(2) authorizes council of the municipality to close to the public a meeting or part of a meeting for dealing with certain subject matters. Now therefore be it resolved that the council of the municipality of West Grey does now go into a closed session of council at, what do we got, Mark? 9:23 p.m. with the CEO, deputy clerk, and clerk to discuss items that relate to 1. Labor relations or employee negotiations. Any questions or comments on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. We retire to the boardroom for a short matter on this. So I have a motion moved by Don B. Marshall and seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby returns to open session of council at 9:37 p.m. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. Mark, we'll just have note that only the one matter that we went in the closed session is the only matter that was discussed. And there's no action to be taken from that. I do know that a number of individuals have already, the warden of Grey County is having a breakfast tomorrow morning on economic development in Owen Sound at the Days Inn, so the warden looks forward to seeing a few of the people that have registered for that. And in saying that, it is early, it is a breakfast meeting, so we need to get out of here. Does somebody have a motion to adjourn? Doug, thank you. Councillor Hutchison moves that we adjourn. I'll accept that, so we stand adjourned.